Once, there was a family of 6 living with their grandmother in a compound. The compound had 6 houses, each belonging to different members of the family. The father, who was the 3rd child of the grandmother, lived in one of these houses with his wife and children for over a decade. The grandmother had been a pillar of strength for them all, especially after her husband passed away, and her younger sister's family also lived in the same compound. The father worked as a driver, and his wife stayed home to care for their 4 children. Their eldest was 15, the second child was 14, the third was 7, and the youngest was just a year old. Despite his hard work, the father struggled to manage his earnings responsibly. He developed a habit of gambling and cockfighting, which drained their already modest income. Without paying rent, he became complacent, giving only a small portion of his salary to his wife to budget for their children and household needs. As their finances grew tighter, they began borrowing money from neighbors and local stores just to survive. This constant financial strain led to frequent arguments between the father and mother. Yet despite their conflicts, their bond remained strong. They always found a way to make up, even in the toughest of times. Their strength as a family kept them together. The grandmother, seeing the struggles her son and daughter were facing, would occasionally step in to help when things became too difficult. However, as she grew older, she realized that her financial situation was also becoming unstable. With 3 of the 6 houses already being rented out to others, the grandmother decided she needed the income from the remaining 2 houses. One day, she gathered her son and daughter, asking them to move out so she could rent their homes to other tenants. Though heartbroken, the siblings understood. They knew their mother needed the money, and it was only fair, as their other siblings had already moved out years before. Reluctantly, they left the compound that had been their home for so many years and moved to a distant place where their father could afford to rent a house. Years passed, and the family rarely visited their grandmother, caught up in the challenges of life. One day, however, the grandmother called them all together. She expressed her deep regret for having asked them to leave. She explained that her decision was not made out of selfishness or a desire for more money. In truth, she had saved all the income from renting those houses. She had lived a simple life and was now at peace, knowing that when her time came, she could pay for her own funeral and leave behind enough for her children. She wanted them to know that her intention had always been to help them, not hurt them. The grandmother's confession brought peace to her children, and they realized that her actions, though difficult at the time, had been made out of love and foresight. The family reunited, and their bond, which had been stretched thin over the years, was renewed. Moral of the story: sometimes the hardest decisions made by our elders are not done out of selfishness, but out of love and responsibility. In life, sacrifices are often made for the greater good, even when we don't understand them at the time. True family strength comes not just from living together, but from understanding each other's intentions and staying united through life's challenges.